So what was kind of the kind of life after?
Life after that, it kind of still kept. I did that for a few years, and then actually through that, I was able to actually start being a referee for soccer games.
Yo.
So I was able to do that, and so now I'm involved in something that I love, and I get paid for it now
Yeah.
too. So that was pretty cool.
And this is you said around this time you were building a really good relationship with your sister as well, and
Yeah, so we were hanging out a lot. She had her own place at this point, so I would go over to her house. We would play video games together.
oh, get excited.
Yeah, I was. It was, it was awesome.
That's a dope sister.
Yeah, we would play like random games, like whatever. Like she'd play it mostly, but whenever she couldn't beat a level, she'd be like, "Beat it for me!" Like, so that was kind of like our thing. But yeah, I would go over her house. We'd go out a lot. Like, even though I was, much younger than her and like her group of friends were super nice to me. We would always hang out, and it never felt like I was this little kid. I always felt like I was just another one of the group.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of people they felt like you had this wisdom. I don't want to say wisdom. Maybe that's not the right term, but I would definitely say that like they treated you kind of like a man, not like really.
Yeah.
It seems like you had this respect. I think that's a better term.
Yeah. Like I said, they never treated me like this, this little kid or like the little brother. They just treated me like just another person, and that goes across the board.
Yeah, right.
Even with my other friends, like who I'm still best friends with him now. His older brother is roughly the same age as my sister, and when we would go hang out with his group of friends, it was still the same thing. They never treated us as these two little kids. They just treated us like two other people in the group of friends.
Well, do you think it was more of your appearance, or do you feel like it was more like they understood that kind of personality that you had?
I definitely think it was kind of like a little 50-50.
Sure.
I definitely felt like with the beard and everything.
Sure,
I looked
yeah.
much older than I was, but I think it definitely was a maturity thing too. I didn't act like a child around people. I just acted. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was still a kid, and I would have my my kid moments and stuff like that. But I definitely felt like I acted older than
being in high school with you and interacting with you personally. I remember that. I never really felt like you were like this. You met a lot of people who were kind of immature in a way, right?
Yeah.
But you always had this sense of composure with you, and I think that's what sports I think tends to do that to you.
Yeah.
You especially when someone you played and grew up in something for so long, it's this discipline that you have to be, and it's not a lot of people who can hold. I mean, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people lack discipline.
Yeah.
But it's something you can tell when someone has been carved, right? Really have like been carving themselves and to build themselves to a certain moment.
Yeah.
That you kind of just interact with them and can just tell like, yo, I have respect for you. I don't know why, but I could see that the way you can take care of yourself.
Yeah, sports definitely build that in you, and I think just the position that I played made me have to have that composure even more of being a goalie.
Yeah, I'm curious. What is the life of a goalie? Because I know
lonely.
Your father. Yeah, imagine.
Lonely. It's so you feel so isolated from the team. Especially during games, everyone's running around. They're constantly passing the ball, blah blah blah, talking to each other.
It's a mental game.
Yeah, a lot of it for the goalie is a mental game because you're by yourself a lot of the times. You don't have, someone next to you. You have your defenders, but they're always in front of you. You know what I mean? You never have anyone right next to you. When plays happen on the other side of the field, your team starts pushing. You have to stay back. I don't get me wrong. You have to follow the play, but it's a very isolated position. It's very lonely. It's a lot of. It's my dad would always tell me it's like as a goalie, you have to mentally and physically you have to be better than all the other players who are like running around like the position. We call them the position players, the guys who are actually running around for the whole game because we don't really run.
Sure,
we're walking around for the most part, just kind of following the game. And we always have to stay switched on because you could it's a 90-minute game.
It's rough.
For 89 minutes you could do nothing, and then there's
freezing.
There's that
some games, dude. I'm like, dude, it's like 40-something degrees out there, right? The wind chill and everything. You can't run around and get warm.
No,
you're just sitting there, just like
you would have to do like your little thing, like a quick little jog, stretch, just to kind of keep you lumbered up.
Just like, bro.
Yeah, and like I was saying, there's 90 minutes. You could do nothing for 89 minutes.
Yes.
And then there's that one moment
we have to spring into
action. You're there. You are expected. It's not even like a try. It's like everyone's looking at you and they expect you to make this game-winning save so that you don't lose the game. And sometimes it would suck when it didn't come out in your favor.
No, I imagine.
Even now you feel even you already feel like isolated and lonely, and now it's just even worse because when there's a thing where it's like when you win as a team. When you lose, you are not part of that team. It is like all eyes are on you. You know, as a goalie, you can't make a mistake.
Right.
You don't have that because a mistake is a goal. And whereas like, you know, you like think of like your strikers, they miss a goal, whatever, you know, nobody cares. They're gonna get other chances. And it doesn't affect us. It doesn't swing the game in one way or another, right?
Is there like a goalie that you would look up to? I don't know.
100%.
Is there like a famous goalie? I'm not sure too much.
Yeah.
about
So
soccer.
my favorite goalie growing up was he was from Argentina. He played for my favorite club team down there. His name was Roberto Abondanzieri.
Jeez, that sounds insane.
Yeah.
It
It was a long name. His nickname was El Pato, or the Duck.
Okay.
Well, I don't know why, but that was his name. Yeah, I looked up to him my whole life growing up. Just his style of play. He kind of had a similar physique to me. You know, he was skinny, but he was still like really tall, really, you know, bulked up.
Probably, yeah.
And I think just a lot of it had to do with him playing for my favorite team. So following his journey from, you know, when he was growing, you know, young to when he joined the team as a professional and up until the moment he retired. So, and then, I mean, I just saw him do some incredible things. You know, don't get me wrong. Yeah, during his time, there were definitely better.
Yeah, but there's something
players.
about having connection with
Yeah,
something.
but there was, just had him. I just saw him do incredible things sometimes. And I was like, wow, like I wish I could do that.
So you're coaching. You're obviously. The reason I brought up your father earlier because I imagine that he was a big coach in your, you know, obviously at home and, you know, obviously in your, you know, adolescence and getting to.
Yeah, he actually coached one of the teams that I played for outside of school.
Even
so that was it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but it was wow. The pressure was just tenfold.
It was mounting.
Yeah, it was real hard, and he was hard on me a lot. He put a lot of pressure on me during that time.
Sure.
Where I would, and you know,
I think that's the fear of a coach, right? The fear of a coach is that your people or your players think that you have favoritism. That's I think it's so. Yeah. But it is a balance, right? You don't want to you don't want to lean too much because then it becomes dangerous, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what he did a little bit. Like we talked about it now, you know, where it's like you said, it's
water under the bridge, right?
It's over with, but you know, we definitely had that talk where I told him, I was like, you know, like there was already a lot of pressure, you know, from playing, and then there was already pressure of being your son and you're the head coach. So everyone was always looking at me like, you know, oh, he's going to be favored because he's his son.
Like,
oh, he's only playing because he's his son.
So
I already had that in my head of like, I still need to earn the spot that I have. But then, you know, he would kind of throw it even heavier on to make, like, he would, if someone messed up, like he was here. If I messed up, he was like,
you know, if I feel like if I had if when I have a son, if hopefully, you know, say, hey, sir, let's have this, so you know, if I hope that the way I would tell it, I think the way I would do, I'm curious on how the way you coached it. I'm really curious how you coached the Christian school as well as the other. But I would be like, hey, listen, okay, I'm going to be really hard on you, okay? But after we're going to get ice cream, we're going to be like, you know, we're going to get, you know, I'm going to make it, I'm like put on a show in front of the other. Yeah. So what are you doing? You know, and then when you get, okay, look, we get in the car, and like, all right, bro, you good? You're like, and I mean, you know, that's the way I would have ran with it.
I definitely took after the coaching styles that I grew up having, which was very, you know, very aggressive, not sugar-coated. But I definitely made it in my own way, right? I took the things that I didn't like. I kept the things that I liked. I took the things that I didn't like and kind of molded them to have my own style, you know, because even though these are just kids at the end of the day, you know, you know, you're not 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
You know, you're a teenager now. You're close to that level of you're going to go to college. You're about to be 18. You're growing into an adult. So I'm, you know, and this is, you know, even though it is just for fun, you're in a competitive environment now. So I'm going to, if you want to play, if you want to compete, I'm going to expect you to be at that level. So I'm not going to treat you like a, you know, like I'm not going to give you a participation trophy. Like, oh, good job. You tried. No, it's like, hey, so I would be I was harsh on them. If they messed up, I would, you know, I wouldn't throw explicatives in there, you know, but I would definitely, you know, I was yelling, I was getting on them,
Let's go.
because it's like, hey,
iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah,
at some point you gotta.
Yeah, you've all been playing for at least 5, 6, 7 years at this point. You should know the basics. So when you mess up on the basics, I'm gonna get on you about it.
Right.
You know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat and be like, "Oh, try it again." Be like, "No, you messed up. You better get it right."
Yeah.
So
I think it's being a coach, the kind of representation of you. It was interesting when I've been doing a lot of research on coaches recently because it's just something that's fascinating to me, being a business owner in that sense. But one of the things that makes it really, 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 really tough is that in 90% of the cases, when a team fails, right, they always fire the coach. Like, they go after the coach. Like, the coach is the number one person. They're like, we're dropping you. Like, it's crazy how that tends to work out.
I mean, it's just because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the coach is, you know, the one giving out the game plans and stuff like that. So a lot of it does fall onto the coach, but a lot of it falls onto the players. But I think it's kind of like the easy solution is firing the coach. Right?
Okay,
because
maybe
and not, I wouldn't say easy solution. It's just I guess one of the quick way to kind of make a change, right? Because you fire one, you bring in someone else who kind of, you know, whatever reason, because, you know, depending on how a coach, you know, the style of coaching, it could, you know, it could stagnate, right? It could not fit in with the group of players that he has, right?
In the current times.
Yeah, exactly, stuff like that. So that's kind of one way to kind of shake things up, right? Get rid of the old one, bring in someone who kind of reinvigorates the team in a sense. You'll see it a lot in any sport, right? They fire a coach and bring in someone new. Oh, they won one game. Oh, they're winning. They won their second game. They won their third game. They're on this little high until it kind of either keeps going or it just kind of drops again, and then it's like, oh, okay, now we got to, you know, either ride with it until the end of the season or we fire him and try to find someone else. But a lot of it does fall onto the players. Like I said, I think it's just easier to replace the coach because the coach is on a contract. You fire him, he's gone. Players, you can't just fire them.
Right.
You have to sell them or trade them or something like that.
So what is the rest of referee? Because I know when you're a player and sometimes you be seeing these calls and you're like this referee needs, you know what I mean?
I think a lot of it has to do. It's like it's not like you're ignorant to the fact of what you did. It's more of just like, you know, I like you make a foul. It's like, you know, you made the foul, but you're still gonna argue your call. You know what I mean? It's more of like you're trying. It's like, you know, just like every other sport. You know, there's those dirty plays or those 50-50 plays where it's a questionable call or it's a questionable play. You know, and you could like you know for a fact you did what you did. You made the foul, but you're still gonna argue your call against the referee because, you know, you always want it to go your way.
Did you enjoy that, like that profession, or is it?
I did. It's fun.
I mean, soccer doesn't seem like the most interesting referees like world, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm very ignorant. So
yeah, it's definitely fun. I think it's a sport where one bad call can heavily influence the game.
Okay.
You know, it's not like football where there's all these penalties or basketball and stuff like that where, you know, it could be, you know,
that momentum is
gone. That you make that one questionable call, you make a late, you know, penalty, you give the other team a penalty on a questionable foul. It's the last minute of the game. They're tied, and if he makes this, it's a game winner. You know, so there's definitely that pressure, and if you get it wrong, it's even worse.
Right.
Because now, you know, you got all the players coming at you. They're yelling at you. They're, you know, throwing every word at you that you could possibly think of, and you have to stick with your decision.
Right.
You can't question your decision, because if you do, it just makes it even worse.
Right, because then they're going to start questioning everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of there's just a lot of pressure. You know, you have to follow so many things as a player. Your main focus is the ball, right? That's all you're following. As a ref, it's the same thing too. You have to follow the play, but you have to be aware of so many other things that are going on around you.
How long did you do that?
For a couple years. I want to say for at least 4 or 5 years. I was doing it. This was kind of when I didn't have like a job. I just needed something to make some extra cash, so I could kind of still buy my own things.
Yeah.
And but I did that for 4 or 5 years. And it was tough. I definitely had those moments where I was like, after the game, I was like, I definitely messed up that one. You know. But for the most part, I think, you know, being a player and a coach and stuff that all that knowledge kind of helps make one or the other easier.
Sure.
So kind of understanding the play and like, when, players arguing and stuff like that, I was definitely like, I get it. Like, I know why you're arguing, because that was definitely me.
Right.
When I was playing, I know you're trying to get away with it just like I was when I was playing, but it's like you have to
not today.
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah, like not today. Like it ain't happening. Like I know what you're trying to do, but I ain't gonna let it slide. But it was definitely fun, and like I said, it's all those connections that helped me, like with coaching and then reffing, and then it was just it was a blast. I even though there were definitely tough moments, I definitely enjoy. I think anything in soccer I'm gonna enjoy no